In this unedited coaching session with Tracey, she requested a session where she could not only do some work, but also do some learning about internal family systems for business. In this session, I dance between the actual coaching work of internal family systems and teaching, weaving around it. The reason I do this with my clients who are what I call head-led or who have very strong manager parts, very strong thinking parts, is I have found over the last 4.5 years that those highly intellectualizing style, their managers need a little bit of education and understanding before they're able to go deeper. Enjoy this coaching session and let me know what you learn. So let's take a breath together. I'm going to ask you a couple of they're like check-in questions, and then we'll dive into whatever wants to show up today. And thank you for being willing to do that.
I'm so grateful you're
So if you'll just allow your feet to touch the ground for a moment and let Mama Earth hold you. And at a pace that feels good and wise to you, just take a couple of breaths to connect to just your spine, your inner being, whatever feels yummy to you. And the first few questions I'm going to ask are for me just to get an awareness of the context we're coming from today. It could be different tomorrow. But the first question is, if you had a color associated with your heart, the most pure, loving, centered, wise, sacred heart, what color would that heart be?
ill.
Teal? Perfect. Thank you. Mine is yellow. The second thing is I'm going to do a check-in in 4 places, and it's red light, yellow light, green light. You don't have to go into any story or detail, but red light being owie, fried, yellow light being like, oh, starting wind. And then green is rest and relaxation response. Like I'm open, clear. The first place is inside your skin. So in your personal body, not in your personal context, but in your body, red light, yellow light, green light. Green light. Okay, good. Well, neither good nor bad. Apologies. The second one is your personal context. So your body, your being in the context of anything in life's reach that you can physically touch. So just so you know, the other two I'm going to ask are about your business and the cultural context. Okay. So personal is like your spouse, your dog, you are having a deck put on the backyard, you're dealing with a chronic illness, right? So that's what I mean by personal context. So personal context, red light, yellow light, green light.
Yellow.
Yellow. Thank you. Okay. I know that you're a small business owner like me. That's what I call us. I don't call us entrepreneurs. I guess we are, but I think of us as small business owners. So in the ecosystem of your small business, I just had a brain fart. It was like, are we recording? And we are. So in that ecosystem, red light, yellow light, green light.
Red.
Red. Okay. Thank you. And then in the context of your personal relationship to culture right now,
Let's say yellow.
yeah, that's very good. Well, that's a comparison to mine because mine is fried. Okay, so the first thing I want to ask before we go into specific topics, is there anything you notice, especially about those red light, yellow light, green light check-ins? What do you notice about having done that, if anything?
I'm not sure if I notice anything.
Okay. What I'm doing when I do that is I'm like, if you're editing a video, right, it's all just regular speed, and I'm pulling things apart so my clients can see a little space between stimulation. Right. And one of the things that I want to bring to the room always is that context matters. And I didn't learn that early in my coaching career. There were questions like, why didn't you make 200 calls? I don't know. Was it chemo treatment? My dog died. Right. And so context does matter. And we are living in a day and age where context is really obvious. Yeah. So with that, where do you want to go today? What do you feel like exploring?
Oh my gosh, you. What do I feel like exploring? Can you give me some examples of what people might explore?
Well, I know that you said you wanted to do this around internal family systems. So there may be a little bit more. And one of the things I do in my coaching is I kind of dance between coach, consultant, um, teacher, and then even I'm able to hold really deep emotional stuff. I am not a therapist, but I'm able to hold. There are certain things that that are not mine professionally to touch, but I'm able to hold with skill and training a level that a lot of business coaches aren't.
Okay. I have something.
So yeah, I love it.
So, um, these past 5 years, since November of 2019, when I was diagnosed with cancer, um, I feel like I have just been working so hard. I had my co-working space that ultimately failed. And so I think what's happening for me when it comes to my business right now is I am having a very hard time maintaining belief in me and my brilliance. So what that looks like is I meet with a friend and she's like, "How are things going?" And I'm like, she's like, "Well, then let's talk because they were hiring or they are hiring." And she asked me to apply. And then I immediately go into this, like, I feel like I've been on this roller coaster where when things aren't going good, I apply for jobs. Um, and like, so this roller coaster of I believe in myself. And the low part is this has been so hard for so long. Let me just get a job.
Mhm.
Yeah. So something in there, right?
Okay.
Like,
All right. I have some spaces to go and ask a couple of more just probing questions to kind of get a little bit more of the context.
okay.
That's the other thing that I don't think I know. I bring a bottom up approach. I see 27 layers deep, 3 layers wide. Right. I'm not a linear person. Ask my husband. So I want to ask you, what happens when you think about applying for jobs? What happens next inside of you?
Hmm. When I think about applying for jobs, well, I think part of me, I just feel like it's going to be easy. Like it'll just be easier. Why do I
Okay.
have to do this so hard on myself? Um, and yet, right, I haven't had a job in 30 years.
Mhm.
Um, but I do feel like it's like I'm giving up on me.
Okay.
That feels terrible. Um,
What stops you? Like, what stops you from getting a job?
I just haven't gotten one. I've applied, I've had some interviews, and they just haven't moved forward. Um, which actually turned out fine.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, I haven't applied a bunch. When I have looked at jobs, I look for perfect fit.
Okay.
So it's literally been like 8 places I've applied in the last 3 years.
Okay.
So no, so technically the only thing stopping me from getting a job is not getting hired
Okay.
and being an entrepreneur. Like I love this
Yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for sharing all that. Let's both just take a breath. I'm slowing my head down because it's used 27 different ways. So you also may hear my pug snoring in the background. The noise canceling does not cancel his go to. Okay, I'm gonna kind of, not that I can read my notes, but working hard, belief in me. And you use the phrase, a part of me thinks it would be easier. So, right, a part of you, I sense the energy of desiring relief, wanting
Yes.
relief from the hard. Okay, so I'm going to start there. When you think about relief from the hard, what comes up?
Mm. I think what really comes up is that I have been fighting for so long and being scrappy. And so when I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, I just need to get a job, I'm just exhausted. Um,
Yeah.
and I think as a society, we're all kind of exhausted.
Okay, so this is where I think it's so fun for context. And no, I'm not. I'm not gonna explain something yet. I get so excited. Because part of the teaching, especially in these places of inquiry that go anywhere, that go all over, part of the teaching is things that we never learned. And here we are in midlife unlearning or seeing things. Okay, so let's pause for a moment. Your body, your emotions, your being is exhausted. Now, let's look at context. You have, right? You laugh at yourself because you're like, I'm exhausted. Somebody who 5 years ago started battling cancer, the biggie, like a biggie, and the treatment for it is more, it's not more deadly, but it's more exhausting than having the actual disease. It's really intense. That's one context. What other contexts are like, oh, yeah, well, it's kind of big.
Well, I think my co-working space failing was huge because I felt like we reached profitability like December of 2019. And then,
Oh, thank
and
goodness.
so it was years of fighting and being scrappy. And there was lots of emotions in that. And even now, context. So I was on a cruise in July. The first day of the cruise, I fell. And so for the last 10 weeks, I have been dealing with increasingly severe pain. And so I also know, like right now, I am more depressed. And there's a lot of factors. Obviously, pain is a factor, but also I'm not sleeping very well because I wake up and then my knee zings me. And so I'm awake. So it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. It's just a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love the other day you posted on Facebook, create before you consume. And I was like, oh, so good. Let me journal. I was talking to somebody the other day and I said, this whole looking for a job, I feel like my identity is wrapped up in being a business owner. what does it mean that I'm looking for a job? And her and I were just having a connection call, but she's a coach. And she said, but what does it not mean? And I was like,
Well, that's a good question.
well, it was a great question. And so then I was able to journal about that. And that just journaling about what does it mean or what does it not mean, like took away all the anxiety I was feeling around it. So, yeah. But I think the main thing is this whole when I stopped believing in me, that that came up in another conversation is like, no, I'm amazing. I am really good at what I do. So what makes me give up maybe right before the magic?
Okay, I'm gonna slow things down here for a minute. I'm gonna not drastically, but I'm gonna gently switch to a parts metaphor and visualization, not like spiritual visualization, but I want you to imagine being at a table that you love that feels delightful, nothing cold and yucky, but something cozy and big enough chairs that are comfortable. And I want you to sit at the head of the table, and in your lap is a teal shaped, fluffy heart pillow, right? So it's just there at the head of the table. And then we're going to use personification I heard you say there is a part of you that is quit believing in yourself, right? And the way, so for the sake of this call, you on your own self can either give it a new name. I'm going to start with generic descriptors. They may or may not be true. You're welcome to change them. Makes sense? And by the way, I do IFS very different than therapists do. Therapists don't explain IFS along the way or what they're doing, but my people are head led and they think a lot, and their parts will not let them touch a heart unless they understand what the fuck is going on. So I kind of like, I went to the dentist the other day and he was like, this is what I'm doing. And I was like, I love that you're explaining what you're doing instead of just whipping out this. So I like to do that for my smart people, right? Okay. So this first part that is like, so tell me about the first part sitting at the table. They pull up, they sit in their own chair separate from you, the one that doesn't believe in themselves anymore.
Like I'm sitting at the table and I'm that person.
No, you're sitting at this table and this part of you. So it's just it's a character. It's a right. We always say, and I remember doing this 20 years ago when I was coaching real estate agents, 30 minutes a day, 13 calls. A part of me feels this and a part of me feels that, right? One part has a thought, a feeling, our bodies have like, right? So a part of you is using that phrase, I don't think I can do it anymore. I don't believe in myself. And then on right next to it, and we're going to put it in the second chair, is a part that says, uh-oh, you're not believing in yourself. Yeah, tell me what happened just there with the
no, that just made sense.
yeah.
So I'm not super familiar with parts work. I'm just barely. And so years ago I went to an event and someone said, like, if you have that person in your head that's telling you can't do it or whatever, it helps to give them a name.
Mm-hmm.
And so mine's Priscilla Poopy Pants. I mean, it's really my mother, right? Like, like telling me that I can't do something. So the realization there was like, oh, okay, just one part of me doesn't believe. And then there's this other part that's the cheerleader, right? And that's the thing. That's one of the things about me is I'm really good at being a cheerleader for everyone. and not always for myself.
Mm, yeah. So just notice as I use this metaphor, like, let's say we are in your co-working space. Did you have a conference room in your co-working space? Like where if people wanted to have a conference, they could? Okay. So let's say all the members of your co-working space came in and shoved themselves in the conference room. Nobody's sitting down yet and everybody's talking, right? That I don't know about you, but that's inside my head all the time. And I'm trying to pay attention and the bombs are exploding out of the world and democracy is falling. Right. Okay. But then you as a turquoise-hearted leader say, everybody take your seat. That's kind of what we're doing. Where what I'm starting with is an awareness roll call, just so we get to know some of the parts. Honestly, today we probably won't get to a whole lot of parts work. We're just noticing parts. Okay, so we got that first chair, that second chair. Who else is in the room? And then I'll come back to poopy pants in a minute. That's important.
Who else? You said, I think there's somebody in the like that's just tired.
Yeah. Okay, so your
Just tired.
body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's I'm gonna slow it down again here too. If you think about the signals that your body gives, right? Our body gives us signals, right? Like being tired is information about what?
It could be information about all sorts of things.
Right. But it's that we're not in a state of equilibrium. Our body needs rest, some version of rest, whether it's a 10-minute nap or to leave capitalism. That's crappy. Or to be in community. I mean, and
Yeah.
I know with you, I can weave in and out of some of my sarcasm that helps me deal with my sarcastic part, helps me hold the grief. Otherwise, nihilism.
Yes. No, yeah.
Body sensations and experiences. So, in this modality of internal family systems, the idea is that we have a core central self and that where everybody has a multitude of minds. This is different from something like DID, which is, I don't want to speak too much about that, but that is like all the parts are blown apart and they don't have access to the core. And a lot of times, not always, but it's like having cement walls between parts. Whereas most people will say a part of me this and a part of me that, or my neck is really hurting. Right. So it may not use words, it may use physical sensations.
Really?
Is that land so far? Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have the part of you that is tired. I'm curious in this moment when you kind of bring your attention to tired, what do you notice in your body? What sensations do you notice in your body when you tune into tired?
Mm. I'm not sure. I'm also not feeling, I don't feel particularly tired today,
Yeah.
but I
It's okay.
know um, that's because I took Ambien to help me fall asleep. So can I sleep better? Magic. Um,
Well, maybe your body did just tell you something.
oh,
I mean, we were seeking for a sensation, but it came out in a verbal style of communication, right? So everybody's got all these parts have different ways of communicating. Most of the people I work with are pretty verbal people. So we start there.
of
The
course.
body. We don't leave the body out. But right, your body just it's like instead of speaking body, instead of speaking sensations, it said, I'm going to code switch and speak English and turn it into words and gave you what information did it give you?
I love that you say that because I have always had trouble. Like when somebody says, where are you feeling it in your body? Most of the time I'm like, sure. Sometimes it's obvious, but most of the time for me, it's not.
Or do you identify as neurodivergent?
Oh, yes. I have ADHD.
Okay.
medicated, thank goodness.
Yeah, same here. That is a very
Um,
common experience. And for those of us that, and I'm not saying this is true for you, I'm just saying I'm noticing themes, and I'm noticing themes in the people that were mutually attracted to working with each other or trusting of, is that there's a certain way that our coping skills developed with our intelligence and strategy and risk taking, like that became entrepreneurs, and we're also caring, right? So we are taking care of everybody else. We solve problems for ourselves and for other people because we care, right? And that's a very heady, brilliant. I don't want it a different way. It's a very heady response to stress, right? And it's just a common trait I see. It's not the only trait in our common worlds, but it's just a common trait, right? And then, so the other distinction I like to make for those of us are like, I don't know what I feel. No, because I go intellectualize it. I go understand it first. It takes me 2 or 3 days to really notice what I'm feeling. Sometimes even to put words to it. And then I'm like a deer in the headlights. There's a difference between feeling and sensation. And us people that love word, and you've written a book, so I know you're wordy. You use your voice and your words a lot in your connection with human beings. One day we were at a retreat, and it was like, I realized I was like, I'm not feeling anxiety, I'm thinking anxiety. Yeah. There was another time I was driving down a highway in Austin, Texas, and I felt like somebody stabbed my head and my heart with an ice pick. And it took me about an hour talking to somebody I love. And she said, you know, you have Xanax in your purse for that. That's a panic attack.
mhm.
Panic attacks don't usually have words. They're physical sensations, right? So I like to use the distinction for us wordy people. There's feelings. And that's why we say, I don't know what I'm feeling, because we're thinking them. So I like to use the word sensation. Do you notice any like just right now, if you tune into the frequency, I don't mean woo woo, but just turn this radio station to sensation. Can you feel the sensation of the air in the room on your cheek? Or,
Uh, um,
right, even when you touch your cheek, and then you could feel the sensation of your skin touching your cheek in both directions, right?
no, that's actually, it's interesting because there was this, what?
You're healed.
Tell me, it was interesting. There was a situation that came up recently where I just looked at my husband and I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I don't know what that means, but no more talking. I'm done. He's like, wow. I'm like, it's nothing. It's just, I was overstimulated and I just needed, usually after my kids have been over, it's just a lot. It's lovely and it's a lot. Um, but also the stabbing, the Xanax thing, I get that too.
Right. Mm. So this little piece that we're kind of side playing outside of the table, and I love that these parts are all listening too, is just bringing some perspective. You know how like the word love can have a million different meanings, right? Same thing with feelings and sensations. And so again, I'm pulling it out and I'm getting a little bit more specific as an example for you to do. Like my specifics don't have to be yours, but it's just making the noticing a little slower and we're unblending it really. We haven't even got to parts where we're just unblending these concepts. So now we have salt and pepper versus Wharton seasoning, right? Like in our head is Wharton seasoning or something. Is it a salt and pepper? Okay, take a breath. I know I can be fire hose. Let's come back to the table and this concept of identity and belief and failure. Anybody else at the table that is just saying, I need a seat at this table today.
Well, there's the person who says I'm not doing enough,
Okay.
or maybe not good enough, or maybe that's two people.
So just allow them to pull out their chairs and sit down.
Mhm.
And as a leader, you already know that behavior is the outer example of inner motivation. And a lot of times when we're viewing ourselves, we're seeing behavior and trying to change it. So inner poopy pants. My request, and you can accept, modify, or reject in any of this. My request is that you would, in your mind's eye, kind of turn towards her chair. You've already personified her in past experiences. What would she like to be called? And I want you to listen, don't think, listen for her answer.
That's a ton of else.
You could do it.
Listen, what would she like to be called?
Yeah. So I want you to imagine she's sitting in the chair and you don't have to do this out loud on video, but I'll do it. Right. Like I've been calling you inner poopy pants. Thank you for sitting at my table. What would you like to be called? And trust your intuition.
Well, she has a first name. It's Priscilla.
Okay. Is that what she said to you? You can call me Priscilla.
No, I'm using my head.
Okay. I want you to just ask her. It's okay if it's weird. It's different.
Mhm. Let's go with Priscilla.
Okay. I'm going to pause and share a metaphor that I know you've experienced. Have you ever been in a doctor's office and you're the patient and your husband's with you? And the doctor is talking to your husband and not you. What was that experience like?
It actually usually happens the opposite way.
Okay.
The doctor will, anyone, we're in a situation, they will always talk to me and not
Okay.
my husband, what was that experience?
Yeah. So I want you to be the patient. And whether it's doctor or patient, I just use that because I know you've been through a
Yeah.
lot of doctors. And sometimes you're sitting right there and they're talking to somebody else in the room like you're not there. Priscilla is in the room. And I say that with love and compassion. And we just don't know until we don't know. So many circles do teach us, like, oh, the inner critic needs a nasty name because she's nasty. And listen, I used to be somebody that said, F your fears. But in this world, we recognize that all parts of us are welcome. They're not all doing their highest and best job. Some of them are doing really old jobs, right? And in society in general, it's easy to make the other person wrong instead of connect and listen. And I'm not saying Priscilla hasn't been mean to you, but she's a part of your psyche, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Let's see from that. What do you notice from there? Yeah.
it makes me think about Brene Brown as an example. Like, yes, fear, you can come on this road trip, but you're not allowed to drive because
Yes.
Priscilla, has served me
Mhm.
in some ways, I'm sure, if I really think about it. But yeah, it's like, thank you for being here. And I've got this particular thing or whatever, right?
Right. So I think one of the frustrations, and that's a very helpful first step. And one of the situations is, what do you notice when you're constantly having to put fear in the back seat and she constantly keeps jumping up in the front, or the critic, or the shame, like how, you know, oh, I'm not going to quote that dude. Um, right. How does that work? Or how long does that last?
I think how long it lasts depends on what's happening and where I'm at. And it can change, right? From, I feel like, minute to minute.
Well, right. It depends on, again, it depends on context, what your capacity is, right? Yeah. And the reality is those parts keep hijacking the bus. That car driving analogy is a great one. It's like the whole point is who's driving the bus. And our job is not to this is challenging for those of us in the coaching world because or coaching has a goal technically. And so we tend to want to get to that goal and fix things. Right. This is not a fixing. Things will fix, but it's not about fixing. So we have to kind of work backwards for the achievement. And why I love this and why it sings with me is because I'm a process expert, which is perfect me because I don't often finish. I'm a starter. I'm a process expert.
Yeah.
Right. So if we think about this Patricia for a moment, and you have a history with her, and I don't realize there's other parts in the room, but we're going to hone in on her. How do you feel towards her? How do you think towards her in this moment?
So I would consider her to be my inner critic.
Mhm.
That's the role she plays.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it's that, who are you to fill in the blank? How do I feel about her right now? She's sitting there quietly because most of the time, I don't feel that imposter syndrome anymore. Um, but it will come up, obviously, in certain situations.
So what I love about that is right now, she's not necessarily, I like to call it inflamed, right? Like inflamed is right. Like I can touch myself and I'm not inflamed, so it's not tender. But if that's inflamed and I touch it, it's gonna explode. It's gonna hurt a lot more. So you're in a space of neutrality with her is my interpretation. Does that feel?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I love about this place of neutrality, and you're a dog person too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And when your dog is acting weird, how do you respond to your beloved dog when it acts weird or like, are you asshole? Get out of the car. Go away. You're acting weird. Or are you something else?
So he has started to whine a lot. And so what we are trying to do is ignore.
Okay.
That is not always how we respond.
Right. Because sometimes it's
But,
fucking irritating.
oh my, he was doing
Okay.
this
So I love
silent,
this. Right.
he was doing this quiet whining the other day, like, just like, and I'm like, dude, we're sleeping. You're fine. We just had a dog emergency thing 3 weeks ago. So these last
Okay. There's
3 weeks
another
have
big
been,
rock. Yeah.
it's been particularly challenging. So
Mhm.
he is not here today because he's finally able to go to the doggy daycare. So, but yeah, he's just nagging is how it feels.
Yeah. So notice, I love this, right? Because sometimes there's a part of you, and I get this way, it's like, I cannot handle this right now, right? There's another part of you that's like, oh, let's do dog behavioral training and the protocol for unwanted behavior is to ignore it, right? I hear that very intellectual, and there are times and spaces when that is, right? And if you are actually having a behavior problem with a dog, the first place in the diagnosis or intake would be getting curious about, I'm going to make this up, but is there a hurt tooth in the dog? Right? Is there some other cause other than listen, we accidentally trained this dog to beg for food, and we're in the process of stopping that and doing that one. Right? So why is on me? I taught that dog to do that. Right? And we do that by rewarding bad behavior sometimes. And sometimes a dog is whining for other reasons. Okay. And that's where, especially let's say you do all this training and it still goes on, like what I'm looking for, and not saying that you have to have it, but is at some point we get curious. So right now, when you think about her, I know I just pile on the analogies, but come back to her. She plays the role of your inner critic. And from that teal part, it's okay for all the other parts to be around. Just ask them all to take a step back. And if the teal heart were curious, what would the teal heart want to know? Not another judgy part, but like if you were just genuinely curious about why she's doing this, what would you want to ask her? That's a good question. I want to ask her.
Like, what made you think you needed to be here?
Sorry, there's no right answer. And I want to see what you come up with, right? And you're what I witness could be wrong, but I witness this, and this is exactly what would happen and is supposed to happen. Your intellectual parts go, oh, I would want to know this, right? Which is perfect. I love our intellectual parts. What I want you to do is I want you to make a connection from your own heart. So maybe I want to invite you to put a hand on your heart or something, and just invite your heart energy to go up to your head. That's all. We're just going to turn on the air of that turquoise heart. So I still want the inquiry. We're just going to add a little, and you're a connection expert in social media, right? And you know the difference between some damn cold person up in your email and somebody creating genuine connection. So I'm asking you with a tool that I know you know how to have is access your heart space, combine it with that question. And what do you notice before you even ask her? Just combining that heart space to that intellectual question.
I think the next thing I just thought of was how can we work together?
Oh, do you notice the difference? Like, no, right?
Yeah.
It's less confronting. Like, why the fuck are you doing this job? And I'm not saying that's me,
Yeah.
hyperbole. But right, you're like, something's not working right here. And when you connect to your heart, your head wonders, instead of your head trying to control her or depress her down, when you're able to get curious and work with your intellectual parts, they don't have to go away. We just need them to work with a little connection to heart. Right. And then all of a sudden it's like you're talking to a friend or somebody you love, and you go, how can we work together? And so if you will, in your mind's eye, from that heart space, turn directly towards her and ask and see what happens.
I think I'm staying in my head and not
Okay. So just ask your head parts to take one step back. They can stay in the room.
I feel and she's saying she's protecting me.
Okay. And what comes up in you when you hear her saying, trying to protect you?
That'll make and
Yeah.
that feels totally different.
Okay. I want you to, yeah.
It does feel like a partnership instead of, someone she has my best interest in mind.
Okay. So I want you to stick with that for a second. You have it intellectually and you also have it in your heart. You already have it in both places. I just want you to let it sink in, kind of like good skincare. Just take that in for a minute. Oh, she actually is not an asshole. She wants, right? Underneath her tactics are a motive to protect you. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, now what comes up?
Mhm. Priscilla has always been kind of the embodiment of my mother. And so, my mom was always trying to protect me too. Ish. Because it didn't feel that way. But, um, I think the other thing that's coming up is what was she protecting me from? Or
Okay, ask
how?
her.
Yeah.
Great question. Right? From that heart space. And if you need to put your hand on your heart just to work, it's kind of like turning it on. That's all. Or your face too. That's perfect. All right. Just
My
ask her.
face is just red.
Yeah, it's okay. You're moving energy, right? That's been kind of compartmentalized. And so just I'm here with it. It doesn't bother me. This is, I know it's awkward because we're not used to it, but just let it kind of do its thing and just see what you notice.
I think she was protecting me from hurt.
Okay.
From
So is that you thinking about her or is that you translating the sense or thoughts that you get from her? Does that make sense? The difference between,
the second thing.
okay, perfect. The reason I use the Grey's Anatomy analogy is because they have that observation deck where all the smart doctors can go to watch the surgery. And I love for our smart doctors and thinkers and observers and understanders to be in there. And sometimes I'll keep the intercom on and sometimes I'll keep it off. And today we're in an intercom on situation. Actually, we're still in the room. They're still, I haven't separated them yet. Right. But that's why I want them to observe, but I also want doctor version, right? The tender teal heart to be the primary communicator. Yeah. Yeah. She was protecting you from getting hurt. I want to invite you to try this question, asking her directly and listening, sensing her answer. What are you afraid would happen if you didn't protect me by being so critical? She may show you pictures, she may use words, she may flush your face.
What I'm getting is she was protecting me from feeling weak.
Okay. Because if she uses I'm tossing this on the table. She can accept modifier, because if she uses tough language, then you'll toughen up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
It's armor,
That
that,
purpose.
yeah.
Yeah. I have a couple more questions for her. Are you okay? We're almost at an hour. I'm happy to go over. I feel more inclined to be thorough than timely. What's your timing today? You're okay?
Um,
Okay.
I'm already late for a Zoom. That is a group. It's fine. It's me. It's fine. It,
It'll be worth your while to
it,
get to
it
know
is
this
worth
part
my
a little
while.
bit
Here
more.
does.
Yeah.
And then it's a planning Zoom, so it's okay.
Okay. So she shared with you that she's protected. She does just confirm with her, does she agree with this idea of like, yeah, use harsh language so that you'll buck up, not so that you'll melt? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. I would like for you to ask her directly. This is a strange question, so it's okay. Ask her and listen for the answer. Don't think about it. Trust the first number that comes up.
Mm.
How old do you think I am? Direct that question to her in the chair. How old do you think I am?
Having a really hard time not thinking.
It's okay.
But
Thinking can come. What was the first thing you
10,
thought?
12.
Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to give you and her some information. Neuroscience. We'll put a little bit of that in here, right? Generally, that tells us this part of us really anchored into her role via her synapses forming at when you were that age. How old are you actually, if you don't mind sharing?
56.
What's the best thing about being 56?
And a free thing. Like, I think the best thing is I don't give a fuck. Right? I don't care what people think about me. I am that. I love being 50.
Yeah. So just let her know you're 56. You're not living with your mom anymore. So we'll call this updating. And maybe show her your house and, you know, just a quick little movie of so many things you've learned. And she doesn't have to come now, but when she's ready, I just want her to see that you're not young, 10, 9, 8, and your mother's not in charge anymore. And what do you notice with her when you share that information? It's okay if you think.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about being 12
Uh-huh.
and what was happening in my life.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, so it makes perfect sense that she would think
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um, that she needed to protect me because, yeah, because of,
Good protection.
yeah.
Yeah. And the one time that part of you used those words, you actually paid attention, like something clicked, right? It's like the dog. The one time it whined and we looked and it gave it something, next thing you know, it's created this pattern. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's not a flaw in your personality. It's not a flaw to her. That's a neurosynapse. Sat in the driver's seat and said, "Here's my job." And that neurosynapse is in a little pocket of 10 years old or so. Right. And so what we're doing today is just bringing awareness to that. We don't have to run to the future. We don't have to run to building new synapses. But once we even notice, oh, that's a neurosynapse that built a bridge at 10. And we're updating it and it loosens up a little bit, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So if you would, I'm going to ask you to do something specifically that we don't have really time today to conjure, but I want you to look at her, Patricia, and from a compassionate place. I'm asking you intentionally to focus on the energy of compassion and just send it to her. Get the compassion and understanding, oh, this makes sense now. And the phrases I use, I know you've seen them, but it's like, I see you. I get it. Oh, right. There's a connected, just a,
Thank
I call it
you.
a tune. Yeah, right. A tunelessness. I was
Yeah.
misunderstanding you. And see how
Mhm.
she responds to that compassion and understanding. Whatever you notice is perfect.
Gratitude.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So what I'd
Maybe
like to do
even
from,
relief.
oh, okay. Tell me more about that. See if you
Like,
can.
like she doesn't have to be so protected.
It's actually true.
Yeah.
And we don't have to fire her, but what we can do, this is, so I want to lay out, we're not going to go through the whole process today because I don't think you need to. But I want to, like, agenda wise, here would be the next steps, right? So this is something like today, what we've done is we've honed in on a very specific part that has been a big driver in lots of situations, correct?
Mhm.
Right. And I'm kind of giving you an example of just how to slow things down, make some space, ask other parts to back away, how to conjure your compassion and connection, and how to have an inquiry, have an actual relational conversation. Instead of telling her what she's doing wrong, you're like, let me get some info. Let me find out about you. And from what you said, right, there's a part of her, and I find this in my clients, her shoulders drop. Like that part shoulders drop and their shoulders drop. It's like, oh, there's more space, or I feel a little bit more relaxed. We know it's not quote healed, but it's like, my God, woman, you finally see me. Oh, you're not 10, right? So from here, every part in us has gifts. Even these parts that use nasty behavior, mean behavior. That's that all that is a coping skill.
I
Or a
agree.
coping mechanism, right? And so what we can do, and it's I love the job aspect of this, right? It's like you outgrew the job because you have some really good skills. And so some of the next questions will be, well, if you didn't have to do that job, what would you want to do?
Mm.
Three parts that are like, we just want to sit out by the pool. We don't want to do we don't ever want to come inside again. They have beepers, they have non-alcoholic drinks with umbrellas, they are putting baby oil on themselves. Like I have some anxiety parts that are just like, I check in, they're like, we're fine. They don't want to do it. And what's possible in honestly, whether it's this afternoon or any coming conversations, is you can begin to say, what do you think your skills and strengths are? You obviously have really good radar. And, what role could we use those skills that's more in line with who we are today? Because who we are today, dude, I went through cancer and didn't have to use mean words to myself to conjure it. All right. Yeah. Right. So what we end up doing is there's a process for helping them relieve their burden. That's the other thing. They're protecting somebody really tender, but beneath the surface. And they're not going to give up their job immediately. So if we offered her a new job today, at some point, my guess is from experience is that she'd be like, yeah, I'm not ready to do that. Because there's something more tender, but we don't need to go to that. We can just see her motive. And that changes the way you relate to this part inside of you.
Mhm.
And so now my request is, and I have their names written down, but it's on a page before the one I'm on. Just noticing that there's other parts. We're not going to go into them today, but this is how they behave in my system. And part of this first layer of parts work is getting to know who's showing up. And from I like these first four C words: calm, connected, compassionate, and curious. It's like, oh, if I can kind of remember that I can be calm and curious and I can make a connection with this part. And what we're doing is we're building relational trust. It's the
Mhm.
same thing you teach in your online business stuff. We're just doing it at a really personal level, right? What's possible from there in your mind, in your thinking parts, in any part of you? What's possible from the space of a different perspective and a different strategy?
What's possible?
Mhm, for you.
Or I think part of it is I don't have to take responsibility for everything all the time.
Mhm.
That there's a host of folks that are supporting me. That it's all me, but they're my parents, right? That I'm not doing this alone.
Mhm.
That feels different.
Yeah. And now, if we bring the context, just quickly bring it, not quickly, I'm not trying to rush, but just bring in the context of identity around business, job, tired. I kind of, that's a soup, I realize, but just bring that soup back in the room and see what you notice about that.
My identity has nothing to do with my job.
Now, when you said that, I know that your thinking parts are there, but I felt your heart in it too. Yeah, the
Yeah,
sensation is
no, I
different.
feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Because, and listen, those parts are still there. You unblended it, basically. You picked apart the Lucky Charms, sorted them. Yeah.
My job is not who I am.
No.
Not even close.
Hmm. And if your business, if the math of your business is not supporting your life and you get a job, that's not a failure.
Right.
Right. And oh, honey, I get this one too, because our businesses are very personal to us. It's the blessing and the curse. There are so many days when I'm like, oh, she could just dial it in.
Mhm.
That just means we're tired. And you said that I'm tired. So
Mhm.
maybe you just need a break for a while. A shift, right? Like all of a sudden it becomes logical instead of this albatross. That's what I like. They call it a burden, right? These parts are burdened with this decision because they make so much meaning in 27 different directions.
Mm.
Tell me what that was.
No, just that making meaning.
Mhm.
I would imagine that I'm making meaning of all sorts of things that don't mean, yeah.
Yeah, and we can know that at an intellectual level. And you're probably like me, you're like, I know this. Why do I behave differently? Because knowing it is too fast, babe. For me too. I'm speaking to myself. Like that babe was Allison to Allison, not just Allison to Tracey. I know you think faster than anybody in the room. I do too. And I know for an ADD brain, fast is what works. And it is excruciating to slow down. But you can kind of slow your insides down and let life continue at the same pace, right? It's an awareness. It's what I call attunement. And y'all seen me share it before. Attunement is a particular quality of attention wedded with affection offered by someone we love and trust. And we have to slow down to bring that connected energy. Otherwise, we're just dialing for dollars, right? And I know I'm choosing specifically, I have your book on my shelf behind me, that the same way that you talk about connected marketing is very different from make 100 contacts a day. There's an energy, right? It's a place you come from. When we're tired, we think we don't have a lot of access to that energy, but it's there. We just have to kind of it's like the sun. And so when you can internally slow down with the intention of making a little space, then all of a sudden the attunement comes in and a real conversation, real understanding between you and these parts happens. Yeah. That's very different from controlling behavior. Anything else that wants to come out, be witnessed, um, just be brought into the room as we begin to wind down.
No, I feel complete for now.
Yeah, I'm very fire hosey. And beautiful, beautiful work. So thank you to you for all your thinking parts, for these parts that came and sat on the table and allowed themselves to be seen. Yeah. And if I were your full-time coach, which I'm not, we're colleagues and friends from another coaching world, but my invitation, not homework, is really just to begin making a gentle, soft inventory of the parts you notice and ask them what name they want to be called. My like being called like the generic names. It is so. I have a lot of hypervigilance and anticipation of the unknown, so they like my anxious part. Like it's like the generic, right? Some parts like to have special names, right?
Sure.
And you can. I started out. You can do it however you want, but I started with a journal called My Eternal Family. Like, oh, I'm just going to get to know all these people inside of me. I have a map that I'm going to be publishing soon, like where you can start to map out. But that's the first place. It's like, let me get to know the people inside this inner office building and see what I can learn about
Like,
them.
that's a good analogy.
Yeah, especially for us
Inner
business
office
owners.
building. Well, it's the even like who's sitting at the conference room table.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, and sometimes like who's in the IT systems room banging on shit, right? Who's down in the basement that is afraid to come out? Who's running when I walk down the hall, right? Like I have this visual in my mind and you're this loving CEO that's coming in. You're wise, you've got strategy, you've got skills. You're not a tyrant and you're coming into this organization, this system, this internal family to lead them. You're not coming in here to make cuts and wit. Right? You're coming in as this is what I love about doing this with other coaches and business leaders, because the people in my circles, like you, are already loving leaders. You are big. Even if your head led when you go to stress, your hearts are big. You care. Exploitation is not an option. So we're using those assets to go, oh. And of course you didn't know because we were taught to shove those parts in. We were taught to, I wasn't allowed to feel. No one sat with me when I felt uncomfortable. They sent me to my room. Yeah. Beautiful work. Thank you.
thank you.
I'll send you a PDF of a little visual map. Make a little page, little coloring page. And I'll send my map just so you can see what I already problem sharing at least this layer of parts, examples. And you don't, it's not something that you complete. It's just a little, creative way to start going, oh, there's this part that does that. Yeah. Thank you so
Excellent.
much.
Thank you so much for reaching out. I really appreciate it. I'm so happy that you are in my life.